Between 1920 and 1929, the economy is very good in Chicago. The city is booming, and so is organized crime. Rival gangs divide the city into territories, which they constantly fight over using methods that can hardly be described as peaceful. In 1920, a stranger arrives in Chicago. In his hometown, New York, he only managed to make his mark as a small-time gangster among the other small-time criminals. Now he is ready for something new. His name, Al Capone. In his own lifetime, he will become the biggest gangster of all time. Together, Torrio and Capone enter the illegal alcohol trade, a successful and remarkable move for Capone after arriving in Chicago as a poor immigrant.
Prohibition provided Capone with an exciting, lucrative opportunity to become a millionaire. On the one hand, the potential for profits were extremely high, and on the other hand, the possibility of being arrested, incarcerated, punished, though that possibility was low. So this was an ideal market situation for Capone to enter.
He was an immigrant who was faced with a lot of adversity when he came to America. I don't think there were a lot of opportunities by way of education or job opportunities for him, so he became a criminal.
Capone had sort of a dual life. On the one hand, there's Al Capone, the man with his wife and family in the house with the brothers and whoever else was staying there, his mother and sister on Prairie Avenue. Maybe he spent 3 days a week on Prairie Avenue looking like a typical family man. On the other hand, he was a gangster, and being a gangster involves violence because that's the only way that they have to enforce the agreements they make. So he could be a very violent individual, especially with people who double-crossed him.
I think that particular view, that view that says Capone was a psychological misfit, I think that falls down, though. It falls down because Capone was able to form some emotionally close relationships during his life. He obviously had loving relationships with his son, with his wife, with his brothers, as well as with members of his gang.
Now Capone is the boss. He can continue in the way he wants to. Al Capone's working week consists of 4 days. During this time, he resides in the noble Lexington Hotel. After a leisurely breakfast and studying the daily press, he makes a few phone calls and takes his time dressing himself in fine clothes. By early afternoon, he moves to his study in the hotel suite, where his colleagues wait in hope of advice and decisions.
He probably would, in some sense, have been a bit like a medieval king in terms of his basic workday. There were people lined up waiting to approach the throne to ask the king for something, either some help, a favor, or the king would have to make a decision in terms of who would be appointed what, giving out commissions in the army, let's say. Well, Al would give people certain positions running gambling houses, etc. People would approach Al about what should we do about beer sales? What about this? What about that? We're having this problem, we're having that problem. It would be up to Al Capone quite frequently as the boss to solve it if it couldn't be solved lower.